Good day everyone, welcome back. In the previous video, we discussed about what 3GPP, that is third generation partnership project is, its objectives and how it is structured to deliver on those objectives. In this video, we will discuss about one of the essential components through which those objectives are being met, which is 3GPP releases. 3GPP releases are stepping stones to introduce new features and functionality to meet constantly changing market requirements. If you are using mobile phone for a simple voice conversation with friends and family, or having a conference call with colleagues at work for an important discussion and decision, or engaged in a high definition video call with good voice quality and superior video clarity, or able to seamlessly access your favorite social media content in a high moving bus or train, or able to retain and use the same mobile phone number even when you change from one service provider to another. These are all becoming possible because of a global partnership and initiative, which is 3GPP, third generation partnership project. Imagine your browsing experience through the years. I'm sure access to the content has become much more superior than earlier. Thanks to 3GPP for its relentless efforts for enabling such experiences through the introduction of new features in the form of frequent releases. 3GPP releases are the stepping stones to introduce new features and functionality to meet constantly changing market requirements. Each release contains a set of technical reports and technical specifications with which a complete mobile system can be constructed to offer much needed services. Now look at how 3GPP manages these releases. 3GPP uses a system of parallel releases with a stable platform for the implementation of features at a given point, and then allow for the addition of new functionality in subsequent releases. A release differs from the previous release by having added functionality either in the form of enhancements to the existing features or introducing entirely new features to address emerging use cases. Generally, 3GPP releases new features around every 12 to 18 months. Every release of a 3GPP has a unique release code and release name along with release status, release start date, release end date, and the list of specifications part of that release to enable the corresponding release features. When it comes to release naming, initial releases were following annual release plans and hence annual release names, that is, based on the year they were released. However, subsequent releases are not necessarily annual, hence no such naming convention. It is possible that features of exceptional complexity may span more than one release. As mentioned earlier, a 3GPP release contains a set of technical reports and technical specifications with which a complete mobile system can be constructed. Now let us aim to get a high level understanding about various 3GPP releases and how they have become enablers over the years for today's mobile experiences. When it comes to initial release, back in year 1988, phase 1 specifications of Global System for Mobile Communications (GSM) made ready for implementation by European Conference of Postal and Telecommunications Administrations CEPT organization in its efforts to build a pan-European mobile system to offer basic telecommunication services, which primarily includes bearer services formed based on attributes such as information transfer and access, interworking, and other general attributes. And then teleservices, which includes the support for speech transmission, that is telephony and emergency calls, short message service, that is mobile terminated, mobile originated, and cell broadcast messaging, facsimile transmission, alternate speech and facsimile group 3, and automatic facsimile group 3. These specifications also included support for supplementary services, which modifies or enhances basic telecommunication services, which include call barring and call forwarding facilities. In the following year, these specifications are transferred to European Telecommunication Standards Institute, which are further adopted and now being maintained by 3GPP under Global Partnership Project. The efforts continued to develop specifications for Phase 2 of GSM, wherein interworking support with ISDN, PSTN fixed networks extended using ISDN user part ISUP in addition to initial telephone user part TOP based one. When it comes to supplementary services, support further extended to advice of charging, call hold facility, call waiting facility, multi-party calls, line identification, and unstructured supplementary services data USSD. Then comes Phase 2 Plus of GSM or Release 1996. In this release, support for teleservices are further extended to include voice group call service and voice broadcast service. Support for supplementary services are further extended to explicit call transfer ECT and optimal routing. Also introduced high speed circuit switch data and customized application for mobile enhanced logic phase 1, which is CAML phase 1. Then release 1997. In this release introduced general packet radio service GPRS to support packet switch data for higher data throughputs. Also support for supplementary services or further extended to completion of calls to busy subscriber CCBS and name identification supplementary services. Then we have release 1998. In this release, fraud information gathering system introduced along with immediate service termination to minimize potential financial losses, if any, especially during roaming. Also introduced the support for mobile number portability to enable the users to change their service provider without changing their mobile phone number. This release also saw the introduction of location-based services, multiple subscriber profile, and support for cordless telephony systems. Support also extended for user-to-user signaling and call deflection supplementary services. All the releases so far, that is starting from GSM phase 1, then followed by GSM phase 2 and GSM phase 2 plus, which is release 1996, release 1997 and release 1998 are considered to be the second generation mobile technologies of 3GPP variant, in short 2G. With the massive adoption of GSM based mobile system, not only within Europe but across the world, a global partnership project formed in the year 1998 to build a third generation mobile system on the foundations and success of GSM, which is today's 3GPP, that is third generation partnership project. Now we know why 3GPP named as 3GPP. In the release 1999, we see that the introduction of new radio access, that is UMTS terrestrial radio access network, UTRAN, which is based on Universal Mobile Technology System called UMTS, the foundation for building third generation mobile system. In this release, we could also see the enhancements to the so-called GSM with the introduction of evolved data rates for GSM evolution, popularly known as EDGE. From this release onwards, we see two different types of radio access networks: GSM Edge Radio Access Network (GRAN) and UMTS Terrestrial Radio Access Network (UTRAN). In this release, we could see the introduction of new services such as virtual home environment to provide seamless service offerings regardless of the subscriber's serving network, and gateway location register to optimize the signaling traffic flows between networks, and multimedia messaging service, among many others. When it comes to a pure GSM side, DRX, discontinuous reception to save battery consumption, DTM, dual transfer mode for an uninterrupted access, and VAD, voice activity detection, are introduced. Now comes to release 4. This is when barrier independent circuit switched core network introduced to pave the path to IP based networks. This release also seen the introduction of high speed downlink packet access HSDPA for increased downlink data rates. Then comes release 5. This is when a new core network was introduced in the name of IP Multimedia Subsystem (IMS), in addition to existing circuit switched and packet switched core networks, to bring operational efficiencies and quality by leveraging well established IP based technologies. In this release, global text telephony feature also got introduced to address 6% of the overall population who are having difficulties in hearing voice conversation. In release 6, there are so many features introduced, including push service, digital rights management, multimedia broadcast multicast service, speech recognition framework, presence service for ultra localized offerings, interworking with wireless local area network, that is Wi-Fi networks, and finally 3GPP generic user profile in the midst of coexistence of multiple technologies to streamline the service offerings. Release 7 has seen a new feature called video telephony, wherein a speech and video components are transmitted and received in a bidirectional multimedia communication along with many other enhancements. If you look at release 99, release 4, release 5, release 6 and release 7 are being considered as third generation mobile technologies of 3GPP variant. In release 8, an evolved third generation technology has introduced, which is evolved packet system, an all IP based network to meet the requirements of bandwidth demanding applications and services. Further, to support continued speech services in an evolved packet system, circuit switch fallback and single radio voice call continuity services are introduced. Also, to support messaging over IP networks, SMS over IP networks are introduced. Also, this release has seen an introduction to earthquake and tsunami warning system. Also got introduced to customized alerting tones supplementary service. In release 9, customized ringing signal, public warning system and user data convergence along with home node B and home E node B features are introduced. In release 10, to support growing demands of Internet of Things connectivity over cellular networks, machine type communications feature got introduced along with many others. In release 11, multiple inputs, multiple outputs MIMO technology got introduced for higher data throughputs along with others. In release 12, the focus has shifted towards enabling enterprises for a seamless business communication and proximity based services and group communication services are introduced. In release 13, mission critical push to talk over LTE and television over 3GPP systems are introduced along with many other enhancements. Now when it comes to release 14, this is when V2X services, that is vehicle to everything, are introduced to support the growing demands of automotive industry in the realm of autonomous driving. So when you look at the releases from 8 to 14, that forms fourth generation mobile technology of 3GPP variant, generally referred to long term evolution LTE. Then comes release 15, which introduces fifth generation mobile technology, that is 5G, with radical innovation when compared with the previous generations of mobile technologies. In this release, the primary focus is around enhanced mobile broadband (eMBB), ultra reliable and low latency communications (URLLC), massive machine type communications (MMTC), along with support for mobile communication system for railways. In release 16, support got introduced for edge computing, industrial Internet of Things and non-public networks, popularly known as private networks, are introduced along with many other enhancements. In release 17, support for satellite access, that is non-terrestrial networks, are added to address coverage extension, Internet of Things, disaster communication, global roaming and broadcasting related use cases, along with other improvements to the previously released features. In release 18, artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies usage has grown across 5G core networks, next generation radio access networks, management and charging for effective monitoring of resources utilization, services provisioning and many other use cases. In release 19, which is currently in progress, the primary focus is around energy saving as a service, traffic management, roaming value added services and others, while continue to leverage advancements in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Studies in release 20 should pave the way for sixth generation mobile technology, that is 6G. I am sure you might have come across certain terms and technological terminology during the discussion that you may not be familiar with, but by any means this is not a comprehensive list of features and enhancements. This is to provide a very high level understanding about various 3GPP releases and some of the features and enhancements that have significant impact on the overall evolution of mobile systems. To reiterate, 3GPP releases are the stepping stones to introduce new service offerings that enables to craft superior user experiences. If you find this information interesting and useful, please tune in further for deep dive discussions on each and every individual 3GPP releases. Thank you for taking time to understand 3GPP releases, and please do not hesitate to provide your inputs in the comment section. Thank you.